Ruby
Claire.
Casimir. Ruby was diagnosed with autism just after her second birthday in October of 2006. When I found out that Ruby had autism, I think my first reaction was, what's autism? I really actually didn't know what autism was. It was one of those situations where I knew it was serious and that I should be really upset, but I didn't really understand what it meant. It wasn't until a good month later, after I had read a million things, that I really had a sense of like how serious and what that, you know, how different Ruby's life was going to be.
Before Ruby was diagnosed, we noticed that she wasn't playing with other kids, wasn't making eye contact with other people.
She also did not respond to her name. Like when I would call her, she wouldn't look at me, even though I knew she could hear perfectly well.
The period of Ruby's life that was most difficult was probably just at the beginning, when we just were so uncertain about both what autism was and what we could or should do about it. And the times that have been hard since then are just those times where Ruby seems sad or upset, and she can't tell us what's bothering her, what's upsetting her.
There are often been periods where she has been a really, really terrible sleeper, where for weeks at a time she would be up for hours in the middle of the night, and nobody in our household was sleeping, and that was really, really hard. There have been other periods when, you know, she seems to be transitioning, like there's something happening in her mind that she's trying to work out, and then she gets upset a lot.
Are you cold, Ruby? Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, there are just the challenges of the fact that she can't tell us what she thinks. She has language, but she's not able to describe her thoughts or have a conversation.
Those are really, that's really hard when, you know, your child just can't tell you what's making them cry or what's causing them pain.
And it's hard for her to learn how to do the kinds of things that all kids need to learn how to do. Simple things like, you know, getting herself dressed in the morning, picking out her own clothes. She sort of requires help with all these things that a kid who's 11 years old by now would be able to do on their own. So, and she can never be left alone. My hopes for Ruby's future are that she will develop enough and progress enough that she can express herself in language in a way that is meaningful, and have friends and maybe relationships, and be able to live at least somewhat independently and have a job.
The great and the frightening thing both about autism is that with lots of work, like with ABA therapy and with good schools and a lot of support, children can progress and become more independent over time. And you know, we want Ruby to have the most independent life she's capable of when she becomes an adult. And so, when she's 2 or when she's 11, you have no idea yet what she's going to be capable of. You know, I just love watching her when she's doing something she loves, and when she knows she's doing it. I remember knowing she's getting better at it, she's improving at it. I think Ruby, that's partly why I'm hopeful about Ruby, is that I think she actually likes being challenged. So watching her figure out how to deal with a big wave in an ocean, or learning how to ski, is you're just watching her kind of figure things out for herself. I remember the first time when we were at the beach where she learned how to dive under a wave rather than, you know, get knocked down by it. And when she figured that out, she must have done it like 100 times in a row after that, just because she was, and I could tell she was proud of herself for being able to do it.
So I love to see her, for example, on an amusement park ride where all you see is a huge smile on her face, and it's clear that she's just so happy. Or skiing, whenever she's completely focused and doing really well and showing how athletic she is, and she's happy. Those are my favorite moments with Ruby, is just when she's doing something she can do well and feels competent and is really happy. Raising Ruby has taught me to be a lot less selfish. It's taught me to think about the way that different people experience the world differently can be rewarding, even if it's not at, you know, a super high intellectual level or whatever. I've learned a lot about being tolerant, about the fact that there can be a lot of love even if it can't be expressed in language.
I think Ruby's just really capable of many, many things. And, you know, when you get to know her, I think most people who get to know her feel that way. She's got a strong will, and I think if we can just keep helping her kind of find ways to grow, a lot of those things I hope for her are possible. But I think you just don't know. You have to live with the uncertainty, and that's the hard part.